96.7 KCAL rocks. It is time for some sports, man, with our guy, Pep. What's going on, Pep?
Hey, let me start out with a shout out because I love doing like these positive shout outs, especially when they involved a local guy. I saw CBS Sports put out their top defensive lineman in the NFL for this upcoming season. Number one, and I don't think you can argue against this because he might be the best player in all of football, is Aaron Donald of the Los Angeles Rams. Number one defensive lineman in the NFL. But coming in at number three on the list, he is the pride of Carter High School. He is a San Bernardino native. It's the Green Bay Packers, Kenny Clark, which is so awesome to have a local guy. And he's still young, man. He is still trending up, which is scary because he's still getting better.
We love him too. He likes to come back out here home, and he does like football camps here in the IE. Way to go, Kenny!
Very cool, Kenny.
Yeah, absolutely. He does 40. He's one of those guys that always comes back and always gives back. More importantly, to the Inland Empire. We've got a lot of sports news to get to as these leagues start unveiling more of their plans of what the season might look like for this upcoming year. A little bit on hockey. We know that the Stanley Cup tournament will start on July 30th, but they're still trying to pick those two hub cities. And when I say hub cities,
Right.
like the two locations where all the teams will go to. And the NHL hasn't picked those two, but they did whittle it down to their final six. And interesting enough, Los Angeles and Las Vegas are both two of the final six teams that could have this Stanley Cup tournament.
Now, Los Angeles, I don't think wants to host it because if you're just going to throw hockey in our face when both of our teams are not in it, and we're going to have both of our basketball teams dominating, we're not going to care about hockey too much.
No, that's true.
It would be kind of random, to be like, yeah, your teams aren't in it, but we're going to use your facilities and your arena.
Right. We really like your arena, but your teams are terrible.
Thanks.
But who knows what they're actually looking at? They're probably, how can they be isolated? Where can the players, enter and leave the arena where they're not contacting anyone else? They're probably looking at all these small little details on how to keep the players and the staffing at the arena, all those factors, how to keep everyone safe. So, we look at it on the outside as a sports fan, and we're like, man, why LA? But they're probably looking at it for a whole lot of other reasons.
Every hockey player has got to be like, come on, Vegas. Come on, Vegas.
Vegas is perfect.
As opposed to, I think Edmonton might have been on the list. It's like Edmonton or Vegas.
Yeah, give me Vegas.
There is a lot of sports news. The big one coming in baseball. We're going to get to that, plus some NBA news involving the Lakers as well. It's all brought to you by Matheson Gas. They are the gas professionals with 3 locations across the Inland Empire to get all your gas for your backyard or your business in the Inland Empire. That is Rancho Cucamonga, that is Fontana, that is Riverside. So 3 locations for Matheson Gas. You can visit them online as well. The website is mathesongas.com. So if you need gas for your barbecue or your business, whatever it may be, check out Matheson Gas, the gas professional. So Major League Baseball is coming back. It's going to be 60 games in 66 days with a spring training beginning July 1st and opening day set for July 24th.
So here we go, and their home stadiums, it looks like.
Now, did I read this too? The 60 games in 65 days, did they say they're going to plan no doubleheaders and doubleheaders will only be to make up games?
I think so. Yeah, you know what?
So they're really going to be grinding.
Yes, it's going to be, I think, in fact, I heard Justin Turner of the Dodgers say that it's going to be like an August-September playoff push. Like, you can't take days off. You can't be like, well, we'll give them this game. We'll come back better tomorrow. It's like, no, every game is going to be magnified because you've only got 60 of them. Like, if you get off to a slow start, you just might be done.
There's going to be a lot of stuff on TV.
Yes.
In about a month.
Now, the pitchers and catchers pretty much have to report now. When is it that the rest of the players report? And they're actually reporting to a spring training again, right? They're not doing it locally.
That's what it sounds like. Like right now, there's a lot of Major League Baseball players who are maybe pitching. In fact, I saw Kenley Jansen was actually pitching at a local high school here in the LA area, Los Angeles area. But like a lot of the players are actually going to their home ballparks. Let's say like the Big A or the Rockies going to Coors Field. Like a lot of them are going to their home ballparks to do like batting practice and stuff like that. But from what I understand, yes, they will have like a spring training at their spring training facilities. And then when you go to play your season, you will not mingle amongst the whole entire MLB, the Major League Baseball. You will stay, for example, the AL West will play only American League West teams and NL West teams. So the Dodgers will play the Angels quite a bit and the rest of the American League West. You're going to kind of stay in your, I guess you'd say proximity-wise, your part of the country.
Okay.
Yes, your time zone.
We're going to stay in our lane over here.
Stay in your lane.
Balls would say.
That's what it is.
It's exactly what it is, and they're hoping that will, limit the spread. I mean, there still will be some traveling involved. Think about the Texas Rangers are in our, league, the Seattle Mariners. There's some travel there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot being talked about. Pep, what do you think about the new wet rag rule?
Wait, what was that?
Now, pitchers are allowed to have a wet rag so they don't lick their fingers.
No licking, no spinning.
I think
the internet's having fun.
40's the non-baseball guy, but I think he was the one digging through all the details on this restart. I think he's excited about this.
I'm really curious how baseball is going to handle their health protocol, because I think football is going to kind of base it upon that. So I've kind of been wading through this, and I've been combing through it all morning, and it is a lot to read through.
Yeah, I mean, because there were some rules, and I think they rescinded some of this stuff, like you can't spit. Like there were certain things like we're like, come on, dude, it's a baseball game. How are they not going to do it? But you're right. A pitcher might, lick his fingers and then grab the baseball, and that's the same baseball that other people are going to touch. Year.
Not in 2020. You better reach for that back pocket where he's got a wet rag.
No tobacco, Pep. No tobacco, dude. That's a piece of baseball.
That's another thing too. Like, yeah, it's just going to be. It's just one of those things. It's like, how bad do you want to play? And if you want to play, you're gonna have to play by these rules, because that's kind of the time we're living in right now.
They said they'd allow gum, so you can get the big league chew if you still want that feel.
But you got it. Yeah, and listen,
yes.
I'll tell you who's going to win the World Series, whoever doesn't catch COVID.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. And Patrick, I'm glad you brought this up, because we're seeing more and more players. Major League Baseball, I think Charlie Blackmon, who's an all-star for the Rockies, he was the latest to test positive. We've seen several NBA players, including Buddy Hield of the Sacramento Kings and Jokic.
They're popping up everywhere, Pep.
Yeah, and here's something kind of interesting for any sports fan. So the PGA Tour has another tournament coming up in Connecticut this week, and the PGA commissioner had a press conference yesterday, and everyone thought he was going to shut down the tour and not do the tournament this weekend because there was a couple positive cases this week on the PGA Tour. And he simply said, we need to learn how to live with the virus. If we have a positive case, we cannot shut everything down, whether it's this tournament, whether it's sports, whether it's the economy. We can't shut it down. We need to figure out ways to live with it. And I think the PGA is kind of, in a weird way, going out front and saying, yeah, we have positive cases, but here's how we're going to still make it work going forward.
They're right, because people need to accept that people are going to catch it.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. People are going to test positive. They already are. We haven't even started yet.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Some of these Major League Baseball guys working out. Some of these NBA guys working out. Buddy Hield of the Kings tested positive, and they were saying he was at a big tournament. Well, I guess it was like a pickup game with a bunch of NBA guys last week. Well, who was there? Like Buddy Hield has it. Where did he get it from? And who did he pass it to? Like it's not going to go anywhere.
No.
On a basketball note, how upset with Trevor Ariza is Damian Lillard?
Yeah, because Damian Lillard was one of those guys. He was pushing for as we move to the NBA, like those fringe teams who could make the NBA playoffs. He's like, hey, Portland Trailblazers are pretty good. We need a chance to try to punch our ticket into the playoffs. And
we deserve a shot to make it.
Yes, and he got his wish. Like they're going to be there with a chance to go into the NBA playoffs. And Trevor Ariza, like a handful of NBA guys, including Avery Bradley of the Lakers, I mean, for personal reasons, they're choosing not to go into these bubbles at Disney World to finish out the year.
The second half of the year.
And it's about the kids, of course, but also, isn't it kind of funny that Lillard's like, oh man, I fought to get us a chance, dude, and Ariza's like, we're not beating LeBron or the Clippers. You know what I mean?
Kawhi and LeBron are in front of us.
Why take a chance? We're not going to win anything, and why get sick? And I got to go see my kid. Deuces.
I know. That's basically what it boils down to. Hey, congratulations. You make the final playoff spot. Now you get to play LeBron and the Lakers. It was nice knowing you, right?
Right.
Yeah, good times.
But that's the case. I mean, there's going to be NBA players. There might even be other sports athletes as well where they're saying, I don't want to stay away from my family that long, or I've got a family member who has these underlying medical conditions. I just don't want to put them at risk. And there may be some players like an Avery Bradley, like a Trevor Ariza, who have their own personal reasons for not wanting to go in this bubble. The NHL is going to be similar, where they're in this little hub, this little bubble, where they're going to try to keep the players and the teams just in this little isolation area.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out. And finally, speaking of the Lakers, with Avery Bradley electing not to play, they might go after former LeBron's teammate J.R. Smith, I heard.
Oh, man, I saw that. I have been a LeBron guy my whole life. I've followed LeBron his career. I'm still hurting from the J.R. Smith in the NBA Finals.
I say do it because he's one of those guys that's instant offense, and also LeBron is going to make sure that he understands what the hell is going on before the play starts this time. There's no way.
He did that a couple years ago.
Well, there's no way this time he's going to leave it up to JR. He will tell JR what to do.
I say no instant offense. I say instant liability.
Shirtless good times.
1 second left. Lakers down by 2. J.R. Smith, I don't know what's going on here.
You need that weird guy on the team, 40, just like Lakers, Ron Artest hitting that three.
The Lakers somehow made Ron Artest seem kind of normal and medicated, I guess. So maybe they could somehow keep the whiskey bottle out of J.R. Smith's hand, but I doubt it.
There is safety in craziness sometimes, guys.
Yeah, it could happen.
Okay, good talk.
If you're a Laker fan, be on the lookout for J.R. Smith.
No!
Fab, tell him how to get your stuff.
Stay away from LeBron, JR. You've already ruined him.
It's Inland Sports, guys. The social media, Inland Sports, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Inland Sports, the YouTube channel as well. We got some great local interviews with some local high school football coaches right now as we kind of push forward towards the upcoming high school football season.
Thanks, Pat.